Hello, my name is Wesley and welcome to my channel. First off, I want to thank everyone who watched and liked my last video. An even bigger thanks to everyone who's subscribed. And an even bigger thanks to everyone who's done all three. You're truly angels. I'd like to give a special mention to my cousin Olivia, who actually made the tote bag from the last video. If you made the tote bag as well, feel free to comment and let me know. I'd love to see pictures. Having said that, please like and subscribe anyway. It's really what makes the world go round, and I do appreciate it. As summer approaches, many of us find ourselves staring at our closet wondering the same thing. Where did all my fashion go? Last year we stocked up on fast fashion, but this year it's suddenly gone. Has this ever happened to you? Your skinny black jeans from H&M are now baggy and gray. Your navy shorts are all of a sudden looking out of focus. Your beautiful burgundy tank top is now burga-don't. Well, don't worry, it happens to the best of us. This is what happens when fast fashion expires. So today, I'm going to show you the technique of tie-dyeing with bleach. It'll be a sure way to fix all your fast fashion woes. So, get ready and let's tie-dye something with bleach. Things you will need. Expired fast fashion. Your best baking pan. Your crafts only pot, a beaker, takeout container, rubber gloves, a marker, bleach with the brand crossed out because this isn't a sponsored video yet, squeeze bottles, yarn or string, and a bunch of other stuff. So the first step when tie-dyeing anything with anything is to change your outfit. As you can see, I have chosen a beautiful craft apron on long-term loan. I've also chosen to wear this other bleach tie-dye shirt because if I get bleach on it, it's only going to enhance its beauty and make it look so much cooler. And really, isn't that what it's all about? Distress from actual distress? So the second step to tie-dyeing anything with anything, find some things from around your home that are weird shapes. I really like to use buttons. I've also chosen some spools of thread that are both with thread and without. And the cool thing about this is when the thread gets bleached is it's also going to change color. So then when I sew with it later, it's going to be weird and fun. And everyone loves that. I've also got pride beads. You may know them as something else, perhaps just junky beads from your dollar store. Some people like to use other things like rocks, socks, bits of fabric. So the easiest way to start is to push all of this to the side. Gone. Just open up all the clothing that you're using. I like to go piece by piece and individually assess each item and decide what I'm going to do with it. Sometimes it's fun not to decide what I'm going to do with it. It really doesn't matter because it's going to be cool either way. Once you've decided what you're going to do with all your expired fast fashion, the next step is to figure out how to make that happen. I'm going to show you some techniques right now. For these jeans, I really want them to look like a random swirly pattern everywhere going on. So the best way to do this, I find, take little bits, pick them up, and just twist. And once you're twisted, all you're going to want to do is take your yarn, any color's fine, take your yarn, and just very simply tie a knot around it. The yarn is going to turn a weird color when I dye it, so when I knit with it later, it'll make a really cool pattern. Remember, if you're reusing your yarn for later and you're tying your knots, you want to make your knots so you can get them undone, or else what's the point of the whole thing? Unless you're going to sit there and tie little bits of yarn together for 18 hours trying to make them into one long string after you cut them apart because you tied your knots too tightly. Promise it doesn't work out the way you want it to. So once you've tied a knot around it, just go ahead and wrap your string or yarn all the way around as much as you can in any weird, fun pattern that you like. Da, 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 da. So now I'm going to do another one, and now the placement of these I haven't really thought about. Maybe I should, but I'm not worried about it too much. I think it's going to look cool either way. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to go to the back, flip it over, as you will see, you want to be careful that your thread isn't going to get tangled in your yarn. It's always good when using thread to keep it separate from everything else, because thread's like that. If it can get tangled, it will get tangled. Yarn, also the same thing. I like to keep my yarn 10 feet away from me at all times, or else it's just going to tangle with everything around it. Even me. grab another spot and just twist and do the same thing again. You see how I'm twisting here, like little rosettes. And then take your yarn from the front and just wrap it around and keep wrapping until it holds steady and solid. This is always the most fun part. So I'm just going to go around and do this all over this pant. So now that I have all my swirls planned out, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap everything up once more. The more you wrap it, the more fun patterns you're going to end up with. And that's the goal. We want it to be as weird as possible. Because who wants to wear regular pants when you can wear strange ones? I should also mention at some point that I haven't done the rest of the legs. This is because I plan to cut these off into incredibly short shorts. Actually, no. Once everything's wrapped, you're going to want to find your scissors. Now that I have my scissors, I'm just going to simply tie this off. Great, let's move on to the next one. For these shorts, I've decided I'd like to have a pinstripe effect. So the first thing I'm going to do is scrunch up my shorts. Nice. And I'm just going to tie it around again. So tie it in a knot, and I'm using a slip knot. Now I'm going to take my shorts and just wrap them around this way. And I'm not doing this really tight or professional or anything. So now that I have my shorts wrapped like this, I'm simply going to take these pride beads, which the first step will be to untangle the damn things. I'm going to just lay them along like this. Now I don't really know if this is going to do anything. My hope is that the bleach will accumulate on each bead and make a cool special little dye pattern. So now that I have my beads placed on here, I'm just going to fully secure them using the rest of this pink yarn. So for my tank top, I wanted to have a bubble effect. Now I know this sounds difficult and like I'm going to be doing this for 10 years. And I probably will be. To get this bubble effect, we're going to use our little bits of things. So I'm going to start by taking my button, placing it behind, and just twisting it like that. Then I'm going to take my orange yarn again and just wrap that around like that. Just enough to hold it in place. Then I'm going to take a bottle cap. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Then I'm going to take another bottle cap. No, this one's a button. It's a square button. Now here's where it gets tricky. I'm going to take a spool. As you can see with this shirt, you can leave it and wear it just like that. That looks cool. So now that I've got bored with tying buttons into this thing, I'm just going to take this string and wrap it all the way around. Nice. So for this shirt, I really don't have any plan at all, and I'm doing what I'm going to call freestyle. And really that means I'm just going to wrap a bunch of yarn around it and maybe throw a button or two in just to see what happens. So now that I have everything tied up, take your gloves, put them on, take your marker, and go ahead and draw some nails right on those gloves. Now that that's out of the way, we can begin our process of tie-dyeing with bleach. It's important to remember you can do this whichever way you like. I'm not judging. Okay, I'm judging a little bit. So when applying your bleach, you're going to want to put it in some sort of container. You can also just direct... So when you're applying your bleach, you're going to want to have it in some sort of container. You can directly just pour it on your clothes willy-nilly if you like. You also want something to put your items in while you're pouring bleach upon them. Again, you can do this pre-pour on your table if you like. I don't live in your house. I won't have wrecked furniture. As you can see, my containers are taken from a ketchup and mustard set. Now it's important to remember to label everything, such as buckets that are only for crafts. But these, I'm not going to label them because I plan to actually use them as ketchup and mustard later. So I'm just going to pour my bleach into each container. And remember to be very careful. You don't want to be pouring this all over your beautiful ensemble. So the fun thing about this project is if you do end up spilling bleach anywhere, you can just use one of your projects to wipe it up. Mind you, it doesn't work very well. Now that our containers are ready to go, it's important to remember that you always have something on hand to place your clothes on once they're soaked in bleach. I'm using a dirty box from outside. Nice. Now, I'm going to start with my freestyle shirt, just so I can get the hang of what I'm doing. I'm just going to sprinkle bleach all over this and see what happens. You want to make sure your lids are on tight. Now, as you'll see, my yarn has already started to change color and my shirt hasn't. The thing with some of these is it may take a while to really get them going. Now let's try something else. The cool thing about this is that you have an opportunity to put bleach exactly where you want it. I kind of want to make these look like bubbles, so I'm going to try to put my bleach in areas that'll make it look like what I think are bubbles. So you may also hear outside in the background. It's because I have the window open. When you're using bleach, you should do so either outside or with your window open. So for my pants, I'm just going to douse them as much as I can in bleach and hope that it goes in all the nooks and crannies. Once I had thoroughly coated everything in bleach, I then placed it outside in the sun to develop. So it has now been another hour. As you can see, varied results. Right, some have turned out pretty cool, and some I still want to push a little bit further. I'm just going to continue on bleaching them, and I'm going to do it till it's the color I want, or I run out of bleach. So now that everything sat outside for a total of 3 hours, been bleached twice, I've run out of bleach. So it's time to give it a rinse. Here's some footage of me hosing everything down in my big green tub. If your tub isn't green, it's probably wrong. Now that everything's sufficiently rinsed, I don't want to put it in the dryer because my yarn will become all tangled. I also don't want to wind my yarn up just yet because it will become a big moldy clump of dampness. So instead, I'm going to put everything outside in the sun to dry. This will probably take about 24 hours to finish. So having said that, I'll see you all on day 2! As you can see, the sleeves have fallen off my shirt overnight. And you know, as they say, sun's out, so of course, guns out. So now that everything is mostly dry, I will begin the arduous task of unwinding all this yarn and seeing just how everything has turned out. So now that I have all the yarn and my bits and bobs taken out, I'm going to just pop everything into the washing machine for a quick wash. This is important because I don't want to leave any bleach behind on the clothing. What if someone gets a rash? Now that everything's out of the washing machine, I can begin the painful task of looking over every item and making sure it turned out just as I wanted. These shorts, I had hoped for a beautiful pinstripe. Instead, what I have is a horizontal tie-dye effect. Kind of plain on the back, but really cool on the front. All in all, I think the results are pretty good. You can even see the little dots where the bleach gathered from the beads. This tank top could have turned out a little better. I had hoped for a bubble effect. I still think it looks pretty cool though. The back is especially interesting. My freestyle shirt has turned out the coolest of all. I really like how it looks like marble. The effect on these pants... Hey, wait a minute. These shorts turned out wonderfully and they're just in time for summer. I especially love the detail on the back. Well, once again, I would like to thank everyone. What's that? Fashion show? Fashion show at lunch? Well, I mean, I guess it's lunch somewhere. So now that we've solved all your fast fashion nightmares, I'd like to thank everyone who helped put this video together. Me. It was me. Just me. I'd also like to thank everyone who watched. Remember to like and subscribe. And next week we'll be doing something even more exciting. I don't know what it is. Until we meet again, have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.